Good morning, everyone. It's Monday morning, the start of a new week in my studio. It is a chilly morning out there. On Saturday, it was 75 degrees. Yesterday, my phone told me it was 79 degrees at one point. Tonight's low is supposed to be about 31. So I think that real autumn has come, and the leaves are falling and the sky is crispy looking, and we're starting to wear our sweaters. Now, speaking of sweaters, where is it? Oh, here it is. Remember my brown sweater? Now, I do like this sweater, but I did a bad job and made the sleeves too large. They are quite bulky. They're too bulky under here. And I knew that I was not going to unpick everything and go back and make them smaller. But recently it occurred to me I should do what you really do when a garment doesn't fit, is you do an alteration and you sew it. You take part of it away and you decrease its size and you cut off the excess. Well, I think that's what I'm going to try to do with this sweater. I think I'm going to, reinforce it so it doesn't come unraveled or whatever. I'm going to cut off the bulk under the arms. Otherwise, I'm really not going to wear it as much as I should. I'm wearing my other multicolored wool sweater that I knitted first. This was my second long sleeve sweater. So that's something I want to do this week, is to fix that sweater. On other fronts in the studio, I had a really great day at the market on Saturday. I do take all of my crafty, artsy stuff to a local small farmer's market, and I sold a lot of things. And one thing I sold was, I don't know if you remember when I made a big wool throw. And this was wool that I had processed myself from the raw and cleaned it and carded it and naturally dyed it and spun it and plied it, and, and then I wove it. I put it on my loom as big as I could, as long as I could make it, and the full width of my Ashford rigid huddle loom. Had a real kind of a rustic look to it. It was a mishmash of weft yarns. The warp yarns were acrylic store-bought. I did that for strength because I don't trust my own spinning, but maybe I should, I don't know. But anyway, a couple came and just loved it and paid a price that I had put on it, kind of designed to be so hefty that nobody would take it home and I could eventually bring it home myself. But that didn't work. So I was really excited that it got a new home, and now I feel motivated maybe to put something else on my loom this week. Wouldn't that be great? So that's another possible project this week. I do need to get after market things because it's getting to be the holiday season. I think people will be buying local this year if we have difficulty getting things shipped. So that's something to think about. What else did I do? Because it was so warm, I didn't sell any smittens at the market, but I have continued to make some. I've got a couple of pair here. Oh, this is a little interesting. This is a bulky acrylic yarn. And they are kind of bulky and big, but I've had men come by the market, big old 6'3", huge hands, wanting fingerless gloves. So this might be for one of those guys. They're just great. I love these things. I have a pair that fits a lot like this. They're also, if they're a little bit bigger like this, not too big, but you can wear them over top of regular gloves and it gives you extra warmth. Now, another pair that I made before these took much longer. Smaller needles and thinner yarn. This was not a chunky yarn. This was a kind of a narrow number 4 weight. And so I'm charging $20 for this pair. Isn't that a beautiful color? Now, this is not cotton. At first I thought it was some kind of a cotton. It's an acrylic nylon wool blend. I think maybe 15% wool. And I put a little scallop border of crochet up on the top. Those turned out really nice. Took probably 3 times longer to knit than these. I did these last night sitting on the couch. So I charged 15 for these, 20 for these. We'll see if they sell. If they don't, that's okay. They're not going anywhere. I can have them next year if I need to. And I'll show you some more that I did as well. I had some purple yarn I had gotten on sale at that store, the yarn store in Warrenton, North Carolina, when I was traveling. And it was kind of a purpley, really neat yarn. And I did a scarf out of that with kind of an interesting pattern that I made up, and then a pair of smittens out of it, which very similar to the blue ones. And then I did kind of a cowl with a ribbed effect. So I've got a lot of knitting. It's the time of year where I just have to be knitting all the time so I can have things for the market, because every week things will sell and you have to replenish your inventory every week. That's a little challenging, I must say. The other thing, last week I realized I needed to get more Christmas cards printed. So I put in an order, kind of a quick order. Then I went to a store that carries my cards, and the lady said, "Where are your Christmas cards? I want some." And I was like, "Oh," so I had to increase that order last week. And then at the market this past Saturday, I realized this is not enough. I'm already out of some of my cards. I just put an order in and gotten them. So I'll put in another order on Saturday, I think, send it in, and hopefully they can get those by this Friday so I can have them at the market. I've got a few new cards. These are prints. They're 4.5 by something, 5 by 4, I don't know, something like that. A good size for not a teeny card, medium sized card with an envelope. I basically sell them for $2 each. Don't make a pile of money on those, but I do sell a lot of them and people like them. And I have a few new images on these, which is fun. I always like to try to have something new. I kind of retire some old cards and put in some new cards depending on what people enjoy. So the other thing I need to do this week is make some more bee balm. I don't do that as often as I should. I've got to get some stuff at the grocery store for making that. I need some coconut oil primarily. And I need to make a batch of soap. My soap is getting a little low. They like lavender, they like clove and bergamot and lemongrass, and some people like tea tree. I like tea tree. Soap, maybe just one batch of soap. I don't know how I'm going to get all this done this week, but we will see how it goes. All right. Thanks for joining me, and now I'll start to catch you up on what I'm doing during the week. Well, we're going to go into the chicken pen. If you want to know how the new chickens are doing, there's 2 of them. The other one. Now, as far as names are concerned, the little black one, I've named her Marcy. And the brown one in the back, I've named her Lucy. And this one is Peppermint Patty. Guess what those names come from? I was going to do a Snoopy, but I didn't. I got all little girls. So Peppermint Patty and Marcy, and then the one back there is Lucy. Good old Lucy. So they're all getting along well. Look at Marcy. I thought she was so skittish. Well, yeah. Now see, that is Cocoa Melon right now. She is she's usually fluffier. She is molting. They are a little bit bossy. That's what they mean by pecking order. They will figure out who's top and who's bottom and who's everything else. They're having a little bit of a tortilla right now. Notice how Mr. Sparky is just standing there. He's observing. My 3 other hens are eating the snacks. These 3 are kind of not allowed, I'm sorry to say, but they do have food and water. It'll all pan out in the end. Cocoa Melon was the bottom chicken for a long time, but some of the others have died, so she's moved up. Dandy was also a very bottom hen, but she's moved up. She's the only one laying right now. Now this is where my 3 new girls like to be, up there on that perch, on that roost. That's where they've been sleeping. I did get, I don't know if I showed you this, I did clean out the laying box. Got a roost in there of sorts. I need to fix it a little better. Got a curtain, but I've pulled it back some so they know they can go in, because our temperatures are going to get cold here in a little bit, and in a couple days, and they're going to maybe want a warmer spot to sleep in. We'll see. At least they'll have it available. Okay, girls. Hope you're settling in well. Okay, so I'm working on this sweater. This is the sleeve here. It's a little tucked inside out. There it is. Okay. So I took off some of the bulk here, although really the bulkiest spot is through here. And so I think I started here and took off that little triangle. But then I came back this way and have cut out almost this kind of gusset affair and sloped it down to here. Now I don't know what this is going to look like. I'm going to try it on before I start cutting away the bulk. I've used a very fine stitch, like about a 12. I might even go over it a second time just to make sure it's super secure, because it feels so strange to be cutting, you know, yarn that you've spun and knitted. So yeah, there's a little bit of a close-up of getting the bulk, I guess, out from underneath the armpit. We'll see if that worked. Okay, so as those out there who are smarter than me about sewing probably already has anticipated, that did not work and gave this a really ugly look. I think if I want this to work, I'm going to have to go ahead and just take it all the way down and make the sweater smaller all the way down to the waist. And it's still big enough. It was a very large sweater. Part of the problem is that the dark wool here is bulkier than this lighter brown, and so I just ended up with this bulky bit in here, and that's how that is. Almost wish I could felt that without felting that and get this smaller. Anyway, yeah, if I do want to make the sweater smaller and keep it less bulky, it just almost falls off of me right now. I think I'm going to have to go ahead and decrease here. Yeah. I've used a contrasting, this is a lighter, it's a gray thread. I mean, I can pull all this stitching out if I want to. I just want to be careful before I start cutting into my yarn. Now, I apologize for how I look this morning. I haven't even changed out of my junky nighties. But I did want to show you the effect of this alteration, which is pretty dramatic. This is my right side. This is the side I have altered. And I did go ahead and cut out the bulk, and this is the fit now. It's not perfect. There's still a little bit of bulk on the dark, but not much, not much. Much better fit, as opposed to this is how it fit before I altered it. Much, much bigger. Just tons of fabric under there and a pretty heavy sleeve. So I think you can see the difference. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. And now that I'm going to be having some more brown yarn coming down the pike soon, I might also put more of a collar on this so it keeps my neck warmer. And I think I need to do some buttons and something. I really should have done a placket here, some ribbing, but it does curl under. So anyway, or I could reinforce that with some fabric underneath that would make it lie flat, but I'd like to be able to button it up in the wintertime. Now you can see the difference even, yeah, just so much bulk on that sleeve. All right, so that's the fix so far. This is the piece that I cut off. A little bit of wastage, even some ribbing at the bottom. That was kind of sad. That was the hardest part to get rid of. Isn't that ridiculous? So ridiculous. But it is worth it to have a garment that fits better and that you're more comfortable in. Here's the armhole section here. Well, it's now Tuesday, and it's been a fairly productive day. I did repair the brown sweater, as I just showed you, and then I wore it to the grocery store, and I went and bought some more ingredients, some oils for making soap. Hopefully I'll make my soap this afternoon. I'm going to do 2/3 of the batch lavender, and the other third I'm not exactly sure what scent. Right now I am knitting on another scarf for the market. Let me show you the little pattern I decided to use. Nothing exciting. It's just a simple basket weave pattern. Like I've said before, you have to use a mixture of knit and purl in order for a scarf, a flat item, to lie flat and not curl over. So this is one option because you have alternating In these rows here, I have alternating purl, knit, purl, knit. And so eventually the effect is to have it lie flat. And I think when I finish the scarf body, I'm going to go back and maybe crochet all the way around the edge, make it a little bit wider, and stabilize these edges. I didn't slip the first stitch. I actually knitted and purled the first stitches, which gives it a little bit of a wave, but I also don't like to have the big open undone, the slip stitches on the edges. I don't like the look of that. And it's also, if you do put a border on it, it's harder to do it if you have these big old slip stitches. So I'd say about a third of the way through, maybe. A little bit of a tedious knit, but not too bad. So that is on the needles today. It is Wednesday morning now. I'm in the studio for a couple of hours. It's the warmest room in the house because of my little teeny electric heater that's chugging away over here. I have some good company and I have some good spinning. Bobo is under the desk. Lily is under my feet as I'm spinning. Tricky is over there. I did have Leo a minute ago. He was by the sewing machine. He likes to sit at the window. Now I am finishing up the very end of spinning this lovely orange fiber that I dyed. It's been on the spinning wheel for a while. Oh, there's Leo. The other thing I spun for a bit was this green. I got, maybe 3/4 of a bobbin, and then I stopped. I suppose because I wanted to do this. I don't know. Maybe I ran out of green, but I think I've got some more green down there. Anyway, what I may do with these, instead of keeping them on the bobbin for months and months, waiting for something else to ply with them or for me to do more of the same to ply with them, I might just chain ply this. I haven't done any chain plying in a long time. I think I might chain ply the green as well. What that means is it will be a triple ply instead of a 2-ply. It'll be a 3-ply and a nice and chunky. And then I could just use that single ball of wool to make something like a pair of smittens or something like that. It would just be easier to get it off my spinning wheel because I do have some brown fiber that I need to spin. It's now Thursday morning. I stayed up very late last night trying to capture a photo of the aurora borealis, the northern lights, from the edge of our north pasture. I didn't have much success, but I did stay up really late for me. And so I slept in a little this morning. I just cut my soap that I made into bars, and it's beginning its curing process. So that's a good thing. I was glad to get the soap made. I'm going to make my bee balm tomorrow. Today, my goal this morning before I leave at 11:15 is to get my loom warped up. I haven't warped anything in a while, and so I always have to remind myself exactly how to do it so I don't do it badly. I've woven a lot in my time, but not lately. So that's the goal for this morning. I'm still knitting on that little scarf. We'll see if it gets done in time. I haven't done any painting this week, although I did order a lot of cards. So I'm going to be picking those up tomorrow morning. It's been a busy week. So here's to some tea and toast, and let's get started. At tomorrow's farmer's market from 8 to 11 in the morning, I will have lots of my holiday cards here, lovely Christmas cards. I also have prints down here, and I have packs of prints, 5 cards in a pack. And I also am going to have a mix and match box so you can put whatever ones of these into your pack that you would like. Packs are $10 a piece. Hand-painted cards are $5 each. I do accept credit cards and Venmo. Hello, it's so good to see you. It is Friday afternoon and it has been a busy week and a very busy day. I went to town and picked up some more of my printed cards, and they turned out great, and I got them all packaged up. That takes quite a bit of time to do that. I also painted 2 cards, a little Christmas tree, and this wreath. I love painting wreaths. I like that one a lot. I did scan it. I don't know if I'll have prints made. We'll see. But I was pleased with my cards. Let me see, I've got the bee balm is on the stove. No, I just took it off the stove and it is cooling so I can whip it up and put it into tubs. That is still to do. There's the weave over there. I started it yesterday, and all of the footage for that I think I'll save till the next video because this one is already too long. It really is. So that will be on the next video. And then I made some Hello Dolly bars, which I'd never done before, and they are quite delicious. So I will share that with you next time I come here. Let me see, was there anything else that I did today? Oh, yes. I did finally get all of the eucalyptus fiber onto this bobbin. I might apply these two together. What do you think? Would that work? I don't know. I haven't started spinning any of that lovely brown walnut yet, but I'll get around to that probably next week as well. All right, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I thought it might be fun to try to jump in here every day and say hello and let you know what was going on. So I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching, friends. Bye-bye.